Okay, we're gonna try and build this part here, which is 10E, and it looks like this right here. So the box is 4.5 inches by 6 inches. So I think what I'll do is try and create a box like that first to start with. Go to CATIA, try that out. So we'll go ahead and start our next part. I did want to show something here. If I go 3D and hit part design, it kicks me out back to the part itself. Okay, because I was in the sketch workbench. So if I double click this, I'm in the sketch workbench because it says up here on top, I'm in the sketcher workbench. When I go to 3D and hit part design, it takes me back out to the part. If I double click the sketch, it takes me into the sketch again. Okay, and if I hit this, I can exit out of the sketch application. Or I could double click the part body, which would be just like going to 3D and hitting part body up here on top. If I'm in a part body already or in the part design workbench, if I go to 3D and hit part design again, it thinks I want to create a new part since I'm already in part design. All right, so if you want to create a new part, there's multiple ways you can do that. And if you got this, you suddenly lost your part and you can't figure out why, it's probably because you were already in the part design workbench, and if you go back and hit it again, it's just thinking that you must want to create a new part. All right, so we'll go to properties, name this, oh, that's E, isn't it? So change that to an E, and then say OK. And then don't forget to put your student name in here. And I want to name the geometrical set construction geometry every time. Don't forget to select the feature properties. Make this the in-work object. You must have an absolute axis. Okay? All that, now I'm actually set up to go do something. So I'll select the YZ plane. And we'll go into the sketch. And I'm going to create a rectangle using the sketch tab. This rectangle, I'm going to slide this over here. I'm going to start here. Now it's weird numbers are odd because I want to turn my snap to grid on or snap to point. So it'll snap to the grid when I create my rectangle. I feel like I got to shut my computer down here. It's acting weird. Okay, and then I'm just going to slide over 1, 2, 3, 4.5, and then come up. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right about there. And then I'm going to go and create the holes. And watch this, I don't even care what size. I just want to get close to the size and close to the location. So I'm just going to create holes. I'll just pop one over here. Create one over here. Create one over here. Now, were those supposed to be aligned? If I have holes aligned, what I like to do is create an axis from one point to another to lock that in so that they're going to keep aligned vertically. I'm going to go to chamfer and select this line. Make sure I do this one. This line. Whoa. Oh. Careful, I had that line highlighted already. I was trying to chamfer between the two parallel lines. Didn't know what to do. Under chamfer, I can just create a box around this corner and then click over here somewhere. Now, I don't want this dimension going vertically. So I'm going to try and undo this. And I'm going to go back to chamfer. This time I'm going to select the top line and then this vertical line and place it over here. Notice it gives me my dimension up here instead of this way. Okay. I'm going to delete this because I don't know what the angle really is. I'll leave that 1 inch dimension because they gave me a 1 inch dimension here. But there's no angle. I don't know the angle. So I deleted the angle. What I'm going to do is this fun little trick here. I'm going to highlight this whole thing. And we're going to go to a feature called auto constraint, which will automatically put in all the constraints for me. So I'm just going to hit auto constraint and then reference this line here and this line here. And then I will choose stack dimensioning and say OK. And then I'm going to, don't change the dimension, don't move nothing, just go right to contact, and if you can, try and double click it so you can contact this horizontal line to this yellow vertical line. And then see how it's still highlighted? I can go from this vertical line here to this axis. And then when I open this up in the sketch, it gave me two coincidences. I always do datum A first and datum B second. So I got to remember to turn this off. Right click and go to properties and name that in caps datum dash A dash properties up arrow, and then I can just change the A to a B. Okay, so you got your datum A and B here, and notice the part is already green. Now that it's green, I can just grab these dimensions and start moving around. Make sure you grab the dimension line, and you want to try and keep the dimensions in the middle like they are. See, this one here should have been more up in the middle. I like this one over here. I'm going to move this one straight down. I'll move this one over here. I'll move this one the 1 inch down out to the left. Move this down. Move this over here. This should be at least a ½ inch away from the part. That should stay centered. Okay, this 0 shouldn't be any closer than a ½ inch to that part. Okay, you want it nice and spread out so people can pull this up and see it and read it. Now what's nice about this is every dimension on here should match, or every dimension on here is fully constraining this part. when you do your drawing, these are the exact same dimensions you would want in your view. Okay, the only thing in here is that this is a radius call out, so I'll double click on it and change the radius to a diameter. All holes are diameter call outs, but for some reason I got to know the radius when I make them. So all holes switch to diameter call outs. And I like to move the dimensions off just a hair. Now on a drawing, I couldn't do this. I would have to move it off the part like this on a drawing, but on a sketch, I can leave this here like this. This is fine to do. Again, on a drawing, yes. Now here's the problem here too. I have to move this way out here so I can grab this and then move it around over here. Okay. That is a perfectly constrained profile. Now, the tolerances you see on here, that's just the tolerance on a drawing. We're not making a drawing. We're actually making the actual physical part. The guys in the shop, they're going to make this part now use the data from the 3D model to make the parts, which is why I don't think we should be making drawings anymore. But I was told back in '87 we wouldn't be making drawings anymore, and here we are in 2023 still making drawings. So maybe one day we're going to not have to do the drawings and everything will just be 3D data set based, but as of right now, we don't do that. You will learn in my drafting class about model-based definition, where we do model-based definition or dimensioning on the 3D model instead of making a drawing. The concepts will still be exactly the same though. Okay, so that's how I made that part. All I would have to do now is double click and edit the values to what they really should be. Again, there's no tolerances here. This is the actual size you want, and then when you go to make a production drawing, you have to create tolerances to make this thing that much closer to being correct. Okay. All right, so it's 1, 2. Let's see. I got 1 to the first hole, 2 to the second hole, 4 to the first notch, 4.5 to this next hole. So that's 4.5. Oh, did I happen to get that right? Oh no, I didn't. So this one's 2. So I just double click that and change it to 2. And then the one going to this notch is not 497. It is 4.5. Oh, wait a minute. If that's 4.5. Oh no, the notch is 4. I got the notch too far up. So this should have been 4. So I can reverse this. Bring this close. Oops. Bring this closer. As a designer, we got to make these things look nice. Okay. 6 inches, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 2 inches over, and 4.5 inches. 4.5, 2.5 inches over. So I'll double click that and change it to 2.5. Oh no, I had it right. It was 2 inches. It's 2 inches. Maybe I didn't have it right. I don't know. Change that to 2 inches. And then this diameter is 1 inch. Okay, it says 1.5 to 1.5005. The nominal hole size is always the bottom hole, or bottom size. So we got 1.5 inch, 1 inch, and 0.5. That's 1.5, 1 inch, and 0.5. That's what we're really going for. Any smaller than 1.5 inches, it wouldn't take. Oh, got it. I think that was 1. I've already forgotten these. 1.5, 1.5 inch, sorry. 1/2 inch here, 1 inch here, 1.5 inch here. And I think this part's done. So you see how easy it was to fully constrain that using the auto constrain? You don't worry about building the part exact. I just slap something together, throw on the constraints, and then edit the values to whatever I want. Okay, in this case, I'm going to double click part body to get out. If you can't find that exit, that's another way to get in and out. Just double click here on the tree. I will, with the profile highlighted, go ahead and create a pad. And this pad is 1.75 thick. So I'll type in 1.75 and hit tab. Oh shoot, my sketch wasn't highlighted because I was popping in and out. Now notice the numbers are all on the back. I want them on the front. So I reverse the direction so that all my numbers are on the front view. Say okay, and there's your part.